Today, we are going to be looking at the first part of interest. The first part of interest we are going to learn about is simple interest. So, interest is the amount of money that you pay to borrow money or the amount of money that you earn on a deposit. So, the annual interest rate is the percent of interest that you pay for money borrowed or earn for money deposited. So this rate depends. It depends on the year, what you're borrowing, what you're earning. There's lots of stipulations for that. So to calculate simple interest, we are going to use the formula I equals P R T. So we're multiplying P times R times T. So P stands for your principal. This is the money you are going to start with. R is your rate. And don't forget, when we are talking about a rate, it has to be changed from a percent to a decimal. And lastly, T is the time. And our time is represented in years. So if we're giving time in months, we have to calculate how much that would be in years. So let's look at our first example. Diana deposits $725 into a savings account that pays 2.3 simple annual interest. How much interest will Diana earn after 18 months? So let's figure out what we have here. We have the equation I equals P R T. I is your interest. That's what we're finding. P is your principal. So your principal is what you're starting with. So we are starting with $725. So our P is $725. Our rate, our R, is 2.3%. But we have to change that percent to a decimal. So we need to move it over 2 places to the left. So we get 0.023 for our rate. And then lastly, time. Time, we are given 18 months. But we need to change 18 months into years. So we're going to take 18 and divide it by how many months are in a year, and that is 12. So if we do 18 divided by 12, we are going to get 1.5 years. So now we need to take all this information and substitute it into our formula. So I equals PRT. So our principal is $725 times our rate of 0.023 times our time, 1.5 for our years. Now multiply this through. Go on and multiply your rate times your time. So we're going to take 0.023 and multiply it by our time, 1.5. When we multiply it, we get 0.0345. We're going to multiply that by 725. And the reason why we're separating multiplying this, so we do not make mistakes when we're typing it into our calculator. So when we multiply this through, we get 25.0125. And we're going to round this. So our interest is going to be equal to $25.01. Now I want you to try the next two problems. It's just listing out your principal, your rate, and your time. So once you have done these two problems, come back and check your work from the video. Okay, let's check your work. We are always going to start with our equation. Always write it out. I equals PRT. So our principal, $550. Our rate, 7% changed to a decimal is 0.07. Multiplied by our time of 4 years. So when we multiply this, I'm going to do 0.07 and multiply it by 4. And that is going to give us 0.28. Then I'm going to multiply that by our principal. And when you multiply that through, you are going to get $154 as your interest. So your interest earned the $154. Let's look at the next one. Again, start with your equation. I equals PRT. Your principal is $870. Your annual rate, 3.7%, changed to a decimal, 0.037. And then we have 30 months. So we're going to take 30 and divide it by 12. And 30 divided by 12 gives us 2.5 years. Now multiply it. Go on and multiply 0.037 times 2.5. And that's going to give you 0.0925. And multiply that by your principal, $870. And when you multiply this, you end up with $80.48 rounded. Okay, there's one more problem here. So Josh borrowed $250 from his mother to buy electric scooter. Josh will pay her back in 1 year with 3% simple annual interest. How much interest will Josh pay? So start off with your equation. I equals PRT. The starting amount, your principal, is $250. He's going to pay a rate of 3%, change to a decimal is 0.03, and pay her back at 1 year. So multiplied by 1. So we don't need the 1. We can just do 250 times 0.03. And when we do 250 times 0.03, we get $7.50. So that's the amount of interest he's going to pay back to his mother. Now we're going to look at a balance. This is the new value of account when interest is added to the original amount. So we're going to alter our formula just a little. So A is going to be our balance. That's either going to be how much we owe in total or get back in total. So A is going to equal our principal, our P, plus now our interest. Our interest formula is PRT. So R is your rate again, and T is your time. So all we are doing is taking our interest formula and adding the principal to it. So You deposit $300 in a savings account that pays 4% simple annual interest. Find your account balance after 9 months. So let's start with our formula. A equals our principal plus our interest, which is PRT. So $300 is what we're starting with. That's our principal. We're going to do 300 plus 300 times our rate. Our rate is 4%. So 0.04 times our time. We have 9 months. We have to change that. That's going to be 9 over 12. And 9 over 12 gives us 0.75 of a year. So we're going to multiply that. 0.75. Now let's figure this out. Going to multiply 0.04 times 0.75. And you're going to get 0.03. We're going to multiply that by 300. And bring down everything else as is. Now 300 times 0.03 gives us 9. So we're going to add 9 to our original amount. So this is our interest, and this is our original amount. 300 plus 9 gives us a balance of $309. Now I want you to try this next one by yourself. Pause the video and come back once you finish. Okay, let's check it. You deposit $800 in a savings account that pays 3.2% simple annual interest. Find your account balance after 15 months. So let's start with our formula. Our account balance is equal to our principal plus the interest, so PRT. So our principal amount, we deposit $800, so 800. Our rate is 3.2%, change to a decimal is 0.032. And then we have a 15-month time period. So we're going to take 15 and divide it by 12. And 15 divided by 12 gives us a 1.25 years. So we're going to multiply 1.25. Now let's simplify this. Go on and multiply the two decimals, so 0.032 times 1.25. And that's going to give us 0.04. We're going to multiply that by our principal. Bring down everything else. So now multiply it by 800. And we get $32 for our interest. So we're going to take our interest and add it to our principal, and we're going to get $832 in our savings account. So that's the lesson on simple interest. If you have any questions, please reach out.